Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 270. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today we have Kevin Rakestraw. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. This week on the show we have two indie reviews lined up for you with Stephen Cohen's Princess Sid alongside Inocencio's Most Beautiful Island. We'll also be going over some of what we've been watching on the watch list, new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. I think first, today we should probably mention, as of probably, an hour before this recording, news broke about the shooting in Texas. I felt like I should just mention it on here. Have you read about this?
Yeah, a little bit.
So there was a shooting in a church in Texas. I guess it was outside of San Antonio. 27 people, as of now, were killed. Many others injured. It's just, I hope that this doesn't become normalized. I don't want anybody to just hear about horrible mass shootings like this and then just move on with their day and not feel like this is this is something that's normal. You know, it's such a horrible tragedy every time this happens, and I mean we're so. I mean, we're not that far removed from what happened in Las Vegas, and it seems like every week almost there's something horrible that's happening, usually due to gun violence in this country. And it's just, we need to continue this conversation until something gets done about it, because it's out of control at this point. And the whole, you see like Paul Ryan getting on Twitter and thoughts and prayers. And it's like, dude, it was in a church, okay? If it works anywhere, if thoughts and prayers work anywhere, it's going to be in a church. So just can it with that shit, and let's have some actual gun control laws passed that prevent this thing from happening.
Probably not, though.
No, I mean, when you look at things like Sandy Hook, after Sandy Hook happened, you're like, well, surely something must be done about this. Surely somebody's going to do something. It's just it's absolutely terrible. Just such an awful thing that just continues to happen over and over again. And I feel like it's at some point something's got to give with this. Just last week here in the city, that guy just decided to run over a whole bunch of people in front of a school.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that New York has stricter gun control policies, or else he might have had automatic weapons and decided to go in the middle of Times Square and start shooting. I just thought that it's something that we should mention. It's not movie related, but it's very much a topic that I think everyone should be discussing with their family and friends. On a slightly still depressing note, but more movie related, is I think we should actually develop a segment on the show that's just revolves around these sexual harassment scandals that keep popping up, or allegations rather.
I'd rather not.
Since there've been a slew of people being accused of misconduct since we talked about it last. Brett Ratner was the latest one. Always knew he was a sleazebag. I think that was another situation where it was pretty much an open secret, and a lot of really brave women stepping forward, talking about how he's been an absolute sleazebag. One of the more surprising people that's come under fire is Kevin Spacey. Your man, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
How bad was that? Yeah, like how big of a hit was that when you read that? Because I know you were a big fan of his.
I know. Oh, it's not a big hit at all. Like I'm not like, this is something that I don't quite understand with people, how they have like this like emotional investment in like celebrities. Like I like Kevin Spacey, but you give me that information, I'm just like, well, I don't like him anymore.
Don't you think if like somebody, like a filmmaker, like probably a director that you like just love their work, like you have an emotional investment in their work. I mean, I know for me that there are some movies and some filmmakers who I believe have like shaped me into who I am. Like, I feel like there's some films that are kind of a core part of me. And if news broke that one of these filmmakers turned out to be, a horrible human being who did awful things, it would affect me. I think that it would really affect me. Not so much actors. Like actors, I'm not sure that I would be as appalled. Not appalled. That's the wrong word. I guess affected by.
Yeah.
But I was a pretty big fan of Spacey also. So yeah, it definitely comes as a shock, and it's terrible. And Netflix is severing their ties with him, and I'm sure that he is probably going to have a difficult time getting work at this point.
I would hope so. Remains to be seen.
Agreed.
You could see him in
with
4 or 5 years time or whatever.
With Spacey, he's kind of he's kind of the king of the comeback, right? Like when you look at his career, he had lots of peaks and valleys. Like there was a while where he was just the man. He was getting nominated for Oscars, and then he kind of fell off for a while, and then he started to come back.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be able to rebound from this or not. I don't know. Either way, it's still pretty shitty times that we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting a little bit better because now they're getting outed left and
right.
right.
That's the silver lining. If you can, make one in all of this, is that suddenly people are coming forward left, right, and center, exposing these monsters, and I think that's definitely progress. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's talk about our first movie. I think we're gonna do Princess Sid just because I have it in front of my eyes at this point.
All right.
This is written and directed by Stephen Cohn. I have a synopsis here. Eager to escape life with her depressive single father, 16-year-old athlete Sid Laughlin visits her novelist aunt in Chicago over the summer. While there, she falls for a girl in the neighborhood, even as she and her aunt gently challenge each other in the realms of sex and spirit. Kevin, what do you think of Princess Sid?
For the most part, I enjoyed it. Relatively breezy viewing. The synopsis, I think, is a bit misleading. And the main thing I think is going on is that the whole challenging each other, the realms of sex and spirit, like it does broach that topic, especially the spirit one.
I would say influence each other or learn from each other, because it seems like that's more so what it is. Like they're subtly influencing each other.
But even like the spirit part of that, I mean, there's like some talk of it towards the beginning.
Yeah, that I didn't really see too much.
It never really gets into it outside of like one little conversation that they have. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think it really delves into that too deeply. I thought that was pretty, somewhat basic. But I think, for the most part, rather enjoyable. It didn't wow me or anything. And I thought the performances were great. I enjoyed the pacing of it. Like I said, it's pretty breezy. It's a tough one.
I sort of feel the exact same way. I enjoyed the film. I was entertained by it. I agree that the performances were pretty great across the board. There's not a lot here to really talk about for me. I don't have that many criticisms with it, but at the same time, it just came and went. It's not a movie that's going to really stick with me. I probably will forget about it by the end of the year,
perhaps.
And I don't mean that as like a big negative or anything like that. It's just that it's one of these movies where you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, that was good, and then that's it. Like that's the extent of the conversation you can really have with it. I think that you can discuss the relationship between Sid and her aunt and sort of the influence that they had on each other and the ways that they sort of evoked this positive change in each other. But
Yeah.
the thing about that is that it's so subtle, and which is, I guess, a good thing.
It is a good thing because it is. I mean, there's no way around it. This is one of those things that we usually kind of make fun of. Where it's these, they learn life
Yeah,
lessons
they
from
learn
each
from
other,
each other. Yep.
and I mean, it comes so close to just going over that threshold and just being ridiculous in that vein of being a message film and learning life lessons. And but he Stevie Cohn seems to he brushes up against it, but he's always able to like pull it back,
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't completely cross over to where you're just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Like this is just a bit too sentimental
Well, I think that
and saccharine, but he does. I think he always seems to pull it back just enough that it keeps you in it, or at least it did for me.
yeah, he keeps things very grounded. The stakes are not huge. Like there's not all of these giant conflicts that are coming up around these two characters. The aunt is basically just living her life as she would normally, but she's just trying to include her niece in these aspects of her life, and the niece she's just growing up. She's coming into her sexuality, and she's just meeting people and experimenting and stuff like that. So it's not like anything earth shattering is happening in this film. It all feels very very grounded in reality.
Which I found interesting because and I don't think you've seen his last film, which was Henry Gamble's Birthday Party.
No.
But in that film, Henry Gamble's Birthday Party, he almost overloaded that film with like conflict and drama. Like everyone had something going on. So it was kind of interesting to see, and a little bit refreshing that this one, the conflict was relatively light. Like there's barely any conflict in this movie.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. I didn't feel like it needed anything more than what it gave us. There were a few kind of bigger moments that happened. Some kind of surprising things that occurred that I thought were handled really well. But like you said, it's just kind of light and breezy and slightly feel good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I think the performances are a big part of that. Is like they're enjoyable people to be around,
right?
For an hour and a half or so. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's good company.
Yeah,
breezy, good company.
There's a lot of kind of nuance to the performances in this too. Like the conversations that they have. I like how at the beginning when Sid first came over, she kept talking over the aunt. Like that was just like an ongoing thing. She kept interrupting her and talking over her, and there were just small details like that. And then like the aunt's reactions to some of the things that she says, where she's trying to be like very clearly like whatever Sid said was like either annoying to her or she disagreed, but she just tried to go along with it, and just her mannerisms I thought really complimented the performance.
Yeah, it definitely works in the context of, she hasn't seen her niece in years. And like you said at the beginning, she talks over her a lot. She actually says a lot of stuff that's like kind of hurtful, but she just says it in such a nonchalant way that I don't think she really realizes like how hurtful she's being.
Right. But she does at the end, which, shows growth. There's some growth. There's some growth in this.
They're learning from each other.
They're learning every which way. The aunt's learning to go out, get some sun, maybe think about having some sex.
She's learning immaturity from the young one, and the young one is learning maturity from the older one.
Yeah, so they're going to even each other out.
There you go. It's all about that balance. Got to find that balance. But I also enjoyed the way that the Sid's sexuality is brought up, where I thought, like, for whatever reason, I thought that this was going to be like the crux of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this was going to be like everything kind of hinged on this. and she just kind of brings it up in like a nonchalant conversation while they're both sitting out getting some sun, and then it's done. It's just, it is what it is. There's no conflict with it. There's nothing that, it's not dramatized where it's, all this drama is brought out. It's just, it is what it is,
Yeah.
which I thought was
Yeah, I
nice.
appreciated that. Definitely. One, no, there's I don't. I'd hesitate to even mention this, but there was one thing that slightly bothered me, and it's the dumbest little nitpick. I don't like it in movies when people take phone calls and the person on the other line sounds like they're talking to us in voiceover, and that happens at the beginning when she's talking to Sid's dad. It's
Okay.
just, I mean, I don't like knock points or anything, but it's just like something where anytime I notice that in a movie where it sounds like the person's not on the phone, like she's talking to him on the phone, but it sounds like he's just in a recording studio, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason that bothers me. I think because it breaks the immersion a little bit.
It takes you out of it. You're like this. He does not sound like he is on a phone.
That was just one little nitpick. The other kind of maybe slight nitpick I had was there's a scene where Sid is having sex, and the aunt is like listening. She's like she's not deliberately listening, but she's there and she can hear it happening, and she's just like smile, and she's just like I'm happy for her. I'm proud of her. And that I was just like, come on. Like I feel like in real life you'd be like, ew, 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 you know, like you wouldn't want to hear that.
Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, to me, there's some slight missteps here and there. I thought the Q&A thing towards the end was a bit. I thought that was just a tiny bit hokey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what happens after the sex scene, I thought was a little odd. Just seemed like an odd time to tell that story.
Well, I knew that they were gonna tell it at some
Yeah,
point.
that's what I mean. It felt like it was just like, oh yeah, we have to tell this story. Let's tell it now.
Yeah, like maybe they didn't know where to include that in there, because I knew it was coming at some point. Because the way that they set it up at the beginning, you're like, okay, well, clearly they're gonna have to explain what that's all about. And I was hoping that they wouldn't, and you would just learn it through conversations and context clues, but that doesn't happen.
No, it does not.
Uh,
So, and I mean, this one for me is also interesting in the fact that, in some ways, I think this is a better film than Henry Gamble's Birthday Party, and then in some ways, it's a lesser film. I don't, it's a tough one.
yeah,
Like I said, it's one of those that you enjoy, but at the same time, like the lasting power of this, I don't know.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I was just like, it was decent, but not there wasn't a lot here for me to really grasp onto, but it was an entertaining watch nonetheless. So this is gonna be part of an early career retrospective of Stephen Cohn that's going to be at the Museum of Moving Image in New York. That is, it's running now, so it's running. It started on the 3rd. It's running through the 12th of November. So if you're in the city, want to check that out, go to the Museum of Moving Image website and find more information. Is this? I don't think this is out on like VOD or anything, is it?
No.
No, it's not. All right, let's go ahead and give Princess Sid a score. I'll say like 6.5 on this.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we've been doing this too long. We're like almost on the exact same wavelength at this point.
It was interesting because after, like, as I was watching and when I was done, I was like, yeah, that's a solid 7. That's a solid 7. But in the process of writing a review and then like trying to, conjure up thoughts for this and then talking through it, it's just like, yeah, it's definitely not a solid 7 for me. I could tell how shaky it was through that process.
Yeah. All right, so that's Princess Sid. Keep a lookout for that. I'm not sure what the release schedule is for that. But we'll surely have Kevin's review be up by the time you're listening to this, and if it hits any kind of wider release, we'll be sure to note it on the website. Let's move on, talk about Most Beautiful Island. This is written, directed, and it stars Anna Asensio. I have a synopsis here. Most Beautiful Island is a chilling portrait of an undocumented young woman's struggle for survival as she finds redemption from a tortured past in a dangerous game. We do have a review for this, written review up on the site. Ken wrote a review for it. I think I'll start this one off. I didn't really know what to expect with Most Beautiful Island. I read nothing about it. I watched it. Ken, after he submitted his review, Ken was like, you should check it out. I think you're going to like it. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a look. And then he mentioned something about if you get squeamish around bugs or if you have arachnophobia, just be warned. And I'm like, okay, now I'm really interested in this, because I read the synopsis, I see the poster, and I'm like, what could that be?
I was so confused by when he told us that.
And I was just like, I have to watch this now to see what this is about, because I for some reason, and it's totally my fault, but just through the poster and like the stills that I saw, like the press material that I received, it just looked like it was sort of a drama about this young woman just trying to make ends meet in New York. I didn't realize that. I mean, this is pretty much a horror movie, what we're dealing with here.
In some ways, yeah, I was actually really confused because all I knew was what the little bit of information Ken gave us. So I sit down. Number one, I'm super happy that I picked it because it was an hour and 19 minutes.
Yep,
Are you kidding me? That's amazing.
Yeah,
love it.
Very breezy.
You have no idea how happy I was to see that. And then, like 15 minutes into this movie, I'm just like, what? Is this the movie Ken was talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Or did I pick the wrong one? What? How is this movie a thriller? I'm so confused. And then it started to make a little more sense.
Oh yeah. It definitely ratchets up the thrills in the final act for sure. Even like in Act 2, you're like, the suspense builds. That's one of the things that I enjoyed the most about this, was the level of suspense that it delivered. A lot of suspense, at least for me. I was very nervous throughout a lot of this movie, especially because you don't know what the hell is going on. It's just, Anna Asensio plays this woman, Luciana, and she basically she needs money very badly. She's working several part-time jobs. She's a nanny. She's this outside advertising for this like awful looking chicken place, and she needs extra money. So one of her coworkers says, I have this job tonight, I can't make it, you should go in my place, it's at a party or whatever. And she's like, all right, sure, I'll entertain at a party or whatever it is. She goes, and right off the bat, it's like, it seems sketchy as fuck, because they're like, you can't take your bag, so you got to get rid of your bag. And then like they give her a different address to go to than the one that she was given initially. So she has to like go to this other place, and then she has to get rid of her bag and her cell phone. And then she ends up in this like really creepy warehouse, and there's all these other women that are just kind of standing in a circle, and you're just like, what the hell is happening here? And I'm not going to give it away, because I think that's one of the most intriguing aspects of the film is...
Yeah. And what's the interesting thing that for me worked, it kind of worked, kind of didn't, is that everything up until that point, when she gets to that basement and that warehouse, is like, it's just essentially like a normal movie of her just, working the nanny job and working the chicken advertising job and her at home and this and that. And it's a completely different film up until that point.
Right.
And then everything kind of just changes on you. And the only thing that didn't really work for me was when she gets to the warehouse, I thought that the way that kind of drew that out. I think for me, it was just drawn out a bit too much. Where it's just a lot of them just standing around.
Yeah. There were a lot of moments of them just standing around, her kind of looking around, assessing the situation, trying to figure out what's going on, and I think that was all to build suspense. I think
Yeah.
that was all designed around building the suspense. But yes, there were a couple times there because every time somebody comes, every time that woman that comes back through the door into the room, you're like, oh, she's gonna take her now, and then she doesn't, and you're like, okay, so we gotta wait now. And she took somebody else, and now we gotta wait and see. And then like she had to use the bathroom, she tries to escape and all this stuff, and you're just like, just go into the room. I have to see what's going on in this room now. So I do agree that there was kind of a certain level of frustration in that moment, but it didn't really detract from the film too much for me. I enjoyed that this was shot on 16 millimeter. Talked about it before. A huge fan of 16 millimeter.
But to me, that was the biggest aspect of it. Not necessarily it being shot on film, but her shooting style. Like I love the opening of just it's kind of this like voyeuresque, like just watching, which you come to find is the women that show up at the end. Just like watching them from a distance, walking through New York and everything, and just a lot of the cinematography I found really compelling.
Yeah,
even when there wasn't a whole lot going on.
Right. I mean, a lot of this,
because it is.
A lot of this takes place in a drab-looking warehouse, and there's not a lot you can do with that.
It's a lot of build-up, and some of the build-up is just it doesn't really pertain to what is happening at the end. I guess outside of providing a little bit of context of how much she needs the money, but still, it feels like two detached movies.
Yeah,
almost.
I mean, I think a lot of it was. I think all of it was to portray just how in desperate need of money she is. Like, she is just at the end of her rope. She's late on rent, or she can't pay the rent. She's got nothing. And I think that was all designed around. And then there was also this interesting little thing about her, I guess, daughter. Was it her daughter? That they just touched on very briefly about an accident that happened, that evidently her daughter was killed, I guess, and they suspected foul play, but it was proven that that it was an accident, and maybe that's why she ended up leaving the country and coming to the States. But I think that the whole movie is supposed to be an immigrant story, right? It's about all of these women are immigrants, all of the women that are set, and it's supposed to be reflective of how difficult it can be to come into this country as an immigrant and gain your footing and make a living and provide for yourself and your family. And it says it's based on a true story at the beginning of the film. I did a little bit of kind of cursory research to see what that's all about. And as far as I can tell, it says it's based on a true story just because it's based around some of the jobs that she had when she first moved to New York as a green card holder. So like she basically had to do a lot of these kind of shitty, weird jobs in the city just to maintain her green card status.
Yeah. Yeah, the stuff with her daughter or whatever, I don't know if that really was needed. I don't know if that was really pertinent to the
the fact that it comes and goes. It's literally one conversation she has, and it's so quick, and it's never really touched upon again. It's just that's what it is, and there we have it. I don't know if that really has any kind of merit on the rest of the film as a whole. It's not like she's trying to. It's not like that adds another pillar for her to, or another reason for her to want to get money to send it back home or something like that. It's nothing like that. So,
I mean, the only thing I can think of, but for me personally, I don't think it doesn't work for me. It's just a decision that she makes at the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, doesn't really work.
No, that if that's what it was, that didn't work for me either. There was a scene somewhat early on in the film involving roaches that oh my good god, that scene. I mean, that to me that was like right up there with the Gummo bathtub scene. It was right up there. Like that's a scene that I probably won't ever forget.
I hope I do.
It's just so oh my god. I will like Ken said when he was talking to us before, if you get squeamish with bugs and insects and spiders and roaches in your movies, this one might be one to avoid because there are a few scenes, the roach scene alone, because you can hear them, like you can hear them before she takes the duct tape off, and you know that they're back there, and you're like,
yeah, and
you're like, why don't
she,
don't take that off? Do not take that tape off.
No. And as soon as she grabs like the corner of that duct tape, you're just like, what the fuck is you doing? Don't do this.
They just pour out. And
then she just sits. She just sits there.
I'm sure that was to show us that, you know, she has really good composure when it comes to that type of thing. That this type of thing does not bother her at all. She remains calm. But holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that could
like, what are you trying to prove to yourself here? Like,
I mean, that might be a little bit of the daughter thing, too. Just to show that she's kind of
dead that could be, maybe. Yeah, that she just has this emptiness.
But, I mean, you don't have to go out of your way.
Yeah.
To get the roaches into that situation. I mean, if it happens naturally, okay. But you don't need to make it happen.
Oh, my God. Oh, that was pretty brutal. And then what happens again? I'm not going to mention what happens at the end, but everything that happened at the end, I was just crawling.
I just want to say this: when they first talk, you know, and she discusses a job about getting $2,000 at the end, you don't have to do anything. You're going to a party, you know, and you're just be entertaining at a party, and then when you find out what the party actually is, because at first I'm like, damn, $2,000, that's nice. But then when you see what the $2,000 is for, it's like, damn, you got ripped off. Like that is.
And I loved how the woman was like, "You're being paid handsomely for being here," and I'm like, "No, that is not like $2,000. That is not worth $2,000. Sorry." And I think that's. I'm sure that's the point. That these women are so desperate, they're being exploited into doing this for far less than what they should be, what anybody should be paid to do something like that.
Yeah.
This movie really worked for me. I enjoyed this one actually quite a bit.
It was all right. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised in some areas. Other areas, like a lot of the build-up just didn't work for me.
Yeah, see, I was really into the build-up. I was really on the edge of my seat. Larry Fessenden's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the surprise. It's not a spoiler. He doesn't get killed. I think it's one of the first movies I've seen him in a long time where he doesn't get it in the end.
And not only does he not get killed, but he's actually like, he plays like a super clean guy.
He's like wearing a suit and he's at this swanky party.
He's all cleaned up. It's like, wow. He's all cleaned up and he's not dying. This is different.
It's interesting. I just played a video game this week called Hidden Agenda, and Larry Fessenden wrote it, and he's in it too. And I'm like, even in video game form, there he is. And he plays a garbage man, I think, in it. So yeah, he's pretty scuzzy in it. Not that garbage men are scuzzy. He plays a scuzzy garbage man. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that this was the winner of the narrative competition at this year's South by Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. Let's go ahead and give it a score. Kevin, what are you going to give Most Beautiful Island?
I'll give it like a 5.5, 6.
Wow. That seems pretty low.
I mean, I don't know. It worked enough for me that like her next film I will check out. But this one I wasn't too high on. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Like I like the craft behind it.
this is a debut, should be mentioned.
Yeah. I think she definitely showcased some
Yeah,
talent.
I think this was a pretty strong debut. One other thing that I thought was one of the weaker elements was the performances. I thought were pretty.
I was, I was thinking in my head, I was like, I forgot to mention that the acting,
Yeah,
because I was like, I should have said that to more justify my score. I was like, I'll wait until Adam's done. And as soon as you
yeah,
said, I was like, he's going to mention the acting, I
yeah.
know it. Because there's a couple of scenes that are rough.
There are some. Yeah,
The when
it's
she
not the dialogue. The dialogue I think is fine. It's just the delivery. Unfortunately, is not there.
man, the when she goes to the clinic,
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's one of those things where you're like, how did this play a
yeah.
festival?
You can't be in here or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Hey,
You're just
hey.
like, oh shit, are you serious? And like immediately, like a second later, he's like, you're not gonna leave, are you? And you're like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
it's like one of those things.
this is
Being shot on 16 millimeter and the just the camera style and the way that it was shot, it had this sort of neo-realism look to it. And whenever you have movies like that incorporate non-actors, I think that guy was an actor, but either non-actors or actors that are not very good at acting, yeah, it just
yeah,
it makes it stick out even more. And
yeah.
yeah,
It,
that was
it, it was rough too because that was towards the
yeah,
beginning, and when that happened, I was just like, oh shit, this is gonna be
yeah, because there's
terrible.
not a whole lot of dialogue at the beginning, and then that scene hits, and you're just like, oof, yeesh.
Yeah, not starting off good. I mean, it does get better. I'll give it that. I mean, it's not out and out, just atrociousness throughout. But I mean, there's some rough spots. Let's not lie.
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to forgive questionable acting unless it's like horrible the whole way through and the dialogue's shitty too. It's doesn't bother me too much. All right, so I think I will give this. I'm sitting somewhere between a 6.5, 7 on this. Somewhere in between there. Probably leaning more towards the 6.5 on this one. But I think it is
Understandable.
worth checking out just for those few really cringe-worthy moments that.
Yeah, and I think these are both of these movies, Princess Sid and Most Beautiful Island, are the type of movie like if you were to tell me that you loved them, I could see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could be like, yeah, I see that. And if you said like, oh, that just did not work for me at all, I could see that
Mm-hmm.
too. It's these two films are those
I
types of
don't think
films.
I don't think that I would be able to. If somebody told me that they outright hated one of these two, I'd be like, why? You know, they're so inoffensive. But
Yeah,
but
that's true. That's true.
again, if somebody's like, they weren't that great. They didn't really do much for me. Then I would be able to understand that for sure. But Most Beautiful Island is on VOD right now, so you can give this one a look. All right, let's move on and talk about someone we're watching on the watch list. I think I started it off last time. It was couple weeks ago. We didn't do one last week, so we'll start it with you, Kevin. What you got going on?
Some of these are slightly old
That's fine. I'm gonna mention a couple.
because we haven't done this for
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna
while.
mention a couple old ones too.
I watched that Pete's Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
that
The
new
new
one.
one, okay. Little David Lowery.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen like the original Pete's Dragon.
It was.
So
I
just
didn't like
throwing
it.
that
I
out there.
never liked the original.
I thought the dragon in the David Lowery one is an odd choice. It makes sense to make him like he just seems like a big dog with wings, like a big green dog. I didn't really get a dragon vibe from him,
Well, in the original, it was like
but I
really
think,
cartoony. Like it was very.
but wasn't he like an actual dragon though?
He was a dragon, yeah, but he was just cartoony.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like this, I like if you show that to me, I'm like, that's not a dragon.
Okay.
That's a green dog with some wings. It's weird. But I kind of get it because him being this green dog, I just loved him. So I kind of understand that I would imagine that that's really easy to get that to connect with kids. So I kind of understand that idea. Everything that involved non-dragon stuff, like the family aspects of it, and the like the bad brother played, who's that? Carl Urban, is that his name?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That stuff, no, like none of that stuff worked for me. It was so basic and formulaic. And every time that they cut away from the dragon, it was just like, this is not interesting at all. And to be quite honest, like I almost got to the end of this movie and I was like, man, nothing's really happening yet. And I checked and there was only like 20 minutes left. I'm like, damn, we really didn't even do anything. It just seemed like there should have been more. I mean, you're dealing with a dragon.
They're saving it for
It seems
Peace
like
Dragon
you have a lot more to do. With dragons, there's a dragon and a little kid that was raised by a dragon. I mean, it seems ripe with storytelling possibilities. And they told a fairly mundane one with a giant green dragon that can do camouflage stuff. Like, he can do so many things.
Might have to
It was
check
better
it out.
than a ghost story. I mean, it was better than that, but
I might have to give it a look. I was slightly interested just for the Lowry factor.
it is interesting to see, like, at the very beginning, I think, it's a Disney movie with a Bonnie Prince Billy song in it. Which is just, I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
But there it is. And that's Play Instant on Netflix right now.
All right. So that's Pete's Dragon. I saw Brimstone Glory. This is directed by Victor Jakovelski. Probably pronouncing that wrong. So this is a documentary about the fireworks festival in Tultepec, Mexico. Probably pronouncing that wrong too.
Unlikely.
This is I believe the biggest fireworks festival probably in the world. It's the way that the film is shot. It's very much, I would compare it to maybe the Kotze series or Baraka, one of those, where it pretty much lets the visuals tell the story. There's very little interaction with the subjects, although there is some sort of interviews in a way, but the way that it's done, it's not like your talking head style thing. It basically, the camera just floats through the city. It just floats through the city. It goes everywhere. It does everything. They give so every year they have this giant fireworks festival, and it takes place over like 2 days, 3 days, and it is wild. It is the craziest shit you will ever see. I'm not a big fireworks guy, okay? And when you see this, you're just like, oh my God, these people are insane. They basically, so like the first night to kick it off, they build these huge structures, these like giant towers that are completely, they're just like wireframe structures. They're like castles, sort of. And they're just covered with fireworks. And they build like 6 of these things and they just light them up. And like, it just looks so incredible. And in the film, right, like the night that they're putting the finishing touches on them, a storm hits and lightning hits one of the towers, and they catch it on camera. It's awesome. And it actually ignites one of these towers. So these guys are like freaking out because they don't want, they already lost one of the towers. They don't want to lose. They don't want the fireworks to, ignite, because they're so close together. They don't want them to ignite the other ones. So these guys are climbing up this tower while the fireworks are going off. And they don't have like safety harnesses or anything. And this is like, I don't know, 50, 100 feet up. They're just climbing it like it's a ladder. And it's like swaying back and forth because it's a storm. There's lightning hitting everywhere. And they put GoPros on their hats.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So you get to see like the whole time. And it's just such a... this movie is absolutely breathtaking. Ben Zeitlin does the music for it. So if you liked the score of Beasts of the Southern Wild, it definitely has that same vibe to it. And for me, that was one of the things that I liked the most about Beasts of the Southern Wild was the score. So the music in this is absolutely awesome. It fits perfectly within the subject matter, and I loved it. I think it is absolute, like, probably one of the best documentaries I've seen this year. So
I want to throw out, because this sounds really great. I want to check this out, and I just want to throw out too, if it sounds great to you, on Netflix is, I don't know if you saw the documentary
oh
Skyladder.
yeah, I didn't watch it. I've seen the trailers and stuff, but I'm familiar with it.
I mean, some of they show like a lot of his like fireworks art displays that he does, and holy shit, like I didn't even know that you could do that with fireworks.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes in this movie. So they get the tower situated, the one that went off with after it got hit by lightning, and then so the crowd's forming, and there's like thousands of people at this thing, and they're getting ready. They're like, okay, let's do it. Let's light these things up. So they cut to one of the guys who has the GoPro on his head, and he's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he's just walking around, and it's a GoPro, so it's like a POV shot, basically. So you see in the bottom of the screen the cigarette hanging out of his mouth as he's walking around, like, fixing this stuff. And then he tears the fuses and he's lighting all the fuses with the cigarette that he's smoking. And it's just like, these people, it's crazy. And they make all the fireworks in the town as well. So they make them themselves, they set them up, they light them up. And then the other thing they do the next day is they have this sort of like running of the bulls type thing, but they make these giant bull figures that have like wheels on them, and they just push them through the town. And there's like tons of people. They push them through the crowd, like at high speed. They like run. And then as they push them through the crowd, they light them up, and fireworks are pointed out from the bull. So there's just shooting fireworks into the crowd. It's insane. And then they set up, they have
Yes,
like
please.
mobile triage centers because so many people get burned and injured there that they basically have like fully staffed. They take like tractor trailer, beds and they set those up as like mobile response units for people that get injured because there's so many people that get hurt.
That's ridiculous.
It is a must see. Brimstone and Glory. This is playing now in LA, I believe. I think it's coming out the 22nd, I want to say, in New York. But when it hits like VOD or whatever, if you can see it in the theater, I would highly recommend seeing it in the theater.
Okay. I saw Mark Rosman's The House on Sorority Row from 1983.
Oh, okay.
Man, this one was disappointing as all hell.
Oh.
Like, this one really didn't do anything for me. Like, nothing really worked, except some of like the hallucination stuff towards the end when the main girl gets she kind of gets like a sedative or whatever, and she starts seeing some things. That was interesting, but unfortunately it took a while to get there, so there was a bunch of like kind of mundane stuff happening until we get to the end there. And then just a lot of the story just wasn't really working for me. They kill the house mother or whatever, dump her in the water, in the pool, and they're like, let's have our party. We'll deal with it later. And then, like, in the party, she's not in the pool anymore. We thought she was dead. Where could she be? Which, okay, all of it makes sense. Everything's, yeah, I would be concerned too. Where is she? And then they end up finding her in the attic. Like, she drops down from the attic. And they're like, oh, man, how'd she get up there? And it's like, what the fuck? How do you put a woman in the pool? You shot her. You put her in the pool. You know that she was in there for quite some time. She had to drown if she was still alive when you threw her back in there. How are you not at all like overwhelmingly concerned that she is now dropped from the attic? You got to realize something's going on here. But they don't, but you do, because the way they set it up in the beginning, like right away what's going on. But they keep trying to like play it like no one knows, like, oh, it's gonna, and then they do like this reveal thing at the end, and it's like, well, no shit, we already knew this. You did a terrible job of handling this reveal. So it was, I was sorely disappointed.
This was a Grindhouse Weekly feature for us back in July of 2014.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
There you go.
So you can check that out if you'd like. Let's see. I saw Hellraiser Revelations from 2011.
Mm-hmm.
This
This one, didn't
was
you?
not only the worst in the Hellraiser series, but possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was.
Mm.
Now, the Hellraiser movies, they go downhill pretty fast. If you listen to our Halloween episode last week, I talked about the series a little bit. It does go downhill pretty fast after part two, but man, it hits rock bottom so hard in Revelations, which is I want to say it's the seventh in the series. Basically, this was just, it was not made for to make a profit. It was just made to retain the rights to the series.
Yeah.
So you could probably blame Weinstein for this. I think it was like Dimension that holds the rights, which is owned by the Weinstein Company, I think. Oh boy, it is so bad. One thing I noticed about the later Hellraiser movies, is that they attempt to cash in on popular subgenres of horror at the time. That one of them in the one in 2005, that I think it was 2005, that Scott Derrickson directed, felt a lot like Seven. It had this kind of grim police procedural, David Fincher-esque feel to it. And then some of the later ones felt like Saw movies. Hellworld was one that felt sort of like a Saw movie. And then Revelations, this one has some found footage in it at the beginning. Thank God it doesn't go full on found footage. But it's pointless to have it at the beginning. Basically, it's about these two complete and utter asshole fucks that go to Tijuana, and one of them basically rapes and murders a woman, and then they end up finding the Hellraiser box and conjuring up Pinhead and his cronies. And it's like, for the whole movie, I'm just like, why do I care about any of this? I hope Pinhead and the rest of them kill all of these fucking people, because everybody is horrible in this movie. There's a scene where a brother and sister start making out for some reason. And like the sister starts hitting on her boyfriend's dad for some reason. And it's just, there's all of these just horrible, offensive, misogynistic things that are happening in this movie. And you're just like, why does any of this exist? Why is this in here? And it was one of the few movies that like physically made me angry. Like I felt anger in my heart, Kevin. I hated it so much. It was atrocious on every single level. It's just, if you're trying to go through the Hellraiser series and you want to like do what I did and just complete the whole series, skip this one. Just don't even bother with it. They didn't even get Doug Bradley back to be Pinhead. They got some other guy, and when you see him, he looks like a cartoon character. It is laughable. This guy he doesn't even look close to Pinhead. And even the picture on the cover of that, I don't think that's even him. When you see him in the movie, I'm sure you can find screenshots. It's utterly ridiculous.
I feel like I might have to watch this.
Just know it's going to make you angry.
I just want to see how angry it makes me.
I would have something nearby to like punch.
I want to do it in order so we can have it like an anger contest on the podcast. Yeah. And who can get the angriest at it?
Well, if anybody else has seen Hellraiser Revelations, let me know in the comments how angry it made you, because holy shit did this thing get to me.
I have it's 3 short films. It's playing right now on lecinemaclub.com. So you can go there right now. You can pop that up there in the address bar. Go to lecinemaclub.com and you can watch Kenzo Season 0. So it's 3 short films. You have a new one from Matty Diop, a new one from Eduardo Williams, who's the director of The Human Surge, which I just remembered that I really need to see that one because I heard really good things about that. And then there's another short from Baptist Benetti Cobra, and all three. I enjoyed all three of them. I thought they were all solid, but Benetti Cobra's short at the end is just, I found it to be absolutely hilarious. It's just two people uh, talking, having this weird monologue about orange juice. Like they just really get into orange juice and they just take it to absurd levels of how like orange juice is the greatest thing in the world. And I, for whatever reason, just watching them deliver this monologue and just getting, just being so committed to orange juice, I found to be absolutely hilarious. So the three of them together are, I think it's like 15 minutes long.
Hmm.
All three of them were worth it, but the last one, the third one, is to be was the highlight.
Okay. And you can check those out on locinema.com. So give that a look. I saw Thor Ragnarok.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's directed by Taika Waititi.
All right.
Yeah, I was pretty excited for this one. Now I was never a big fan of the Thor movies. They were fine, but I thought that they were always sort of the weaker of the Marvel movies. This one changes that. This one was the best Thor movie, not the best Marvel movie, I would say, but definitely up there. It was one of the most fun. This is like pretty much a straight up comedy. It's funny, like it's more a Marvel movie than it is a Taika Waititi movie, but that's, something that we kind of all suspected anyway. However, there are so many little winks and nods in this that when you see it, you'll know it's his movie, if that makes sense. Like for instance, he plays this like he voices this like rock creature who is unbelievably hilarious. There's these like there's so many little in jokes and things. Like there's the scene where they're doing this like play on Asgard that's with Thor and Loki, and Loki is played by Matt Damon and Thor's played by Luke Hemsworth, and it's so funny. And there's just lots of little touches in it that really make it something special. And the visuals in this are like way different and way better than all the other Thor movies, because a lot of it takes place on different planets, and there's more of a sci-fi element to it, and it looks awesome. Just all the production design looks really cool. And I can't remember her name, but she plays the police woman in Hunt for the Wilder People. The one who's like, he's a bad egg, like that woman.
Does she play Topaz?
Could be. What's her name?
Rachel House.
That could be her. She was hilarious. Oh my god, she played Jeff Goldblum's like assistant, like her number one. And Jeff Goldblum just plays Jeff Goldblum in this. He is full on Goldblum, which is amazing. And you always want a movie that's full on Goldblum. Sam Neill's in it too. Sam Neill plays Odin in the fake play, and he's hilarious. So there's like all these like small things in it. The action's decent. The only thing is, at the end of the day, it is a Marvel movie. Like it definitely follows the same beats. The conflicts are very similar. Certainly the villain, Cate Blanchett, is way better in this than most of the Marvel villains, but like all the other Marvel movies, she's underdeveloped and doesn't have as much to work with as she probably should, because she's incredible. Mark Ruffalo comes back as the Hulk, and he's awesome. We get a lot of Hulk in this one. Benedict Cumberbatch comes back as Doctor Strange. There's a great scene with Doctor Strange. Really funny. But yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah.
I think you'll have fun with it.
I'm looking forward to it. That's all I got.
All right. Let's see. I'll mention I saw Brigsby Bear. This is directed by Dave McCary. Didn't really know what to expect with this one. I was hoping that it would be kind of a fun little indie comedy, and I found this movie to be very delightful. This movie is a delight. It is
Okay.
very funny. Tons of great quotable one-liners in there. If you're not familiar, it stars Kyle Mooney as this guy who was kidnapped as a baby and kept in this sort of like a fallout shelter his whole life, and his kidnapper father is played by Mark Hamill, and he creates this TV show to keep him entertained and to sort of teach him life lessons, and he sends him one of these tapes every single week, and it's called Brigsby Bear, and he sort of becomes obsessed with it, and then finally when the police come and release him into the world, he realizes that there's no ending, and he decides that he wants to make a Brigsby Bear movie and have it be the conclusion of the whole series.
Mm.
Slightly goofy. It gets a little too sweet at times, a little too saccharine.
Okay. All right.
It gets very sentimental at times, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it definitely kind of tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. So it's just a charming little film. Brigsby Bear, I'd recommend checking that out. All right, let's move on and let's talk about new releases coming out this week in theaters. Let's see what we have. We got Mayhem. That's the new Joe Lynch one. It's a horror movie. I just caught that today. I'll talk about it more next week, and I'll have a review up for it, but I would say maybe a light recommend. Thumper, that's another thriller that's coming out. I'll probably be checking that one out as well. Murder on the Orient Express. What do you think about this one? The Kenneth Branagh one.
No thanks.
No thanks. I'm digging the trailers and the marketing material for this one. I like that, what they're doing with that. I'll check it out. Why not? Daddy's Home 2, the Will Ferrell.
I didn't even know there was a Daddy's Home.
Did you know about the first one?
Like I saw a trailer. I forget what I did. I forget what we were watching, but there was a trailer for it before the movie, and I'm just like, where was I? I don't remember the first one existing at all.
I didn't see it. I remember when it came out. I won't be seeing this one either. It's just not my cup of tea. We got 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Yeah, absolutely. That one I'm really excited for. Could be top 10 material, that one.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bitch. That's a very strange sounding comedy with Jason Ritter and Jamie King about she's like a overworked, overstressed mom who turns into a dog. Like she not physically, but like mentally turns into a ravenous feral dog.
Okay.
And they have to like keep her in the basement.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, seems a little odd. I'll probably check that one out. Sounds kind of interesting. We got Destination Unknown. We got Amanda and Jack Go Glamping.
Okay.
Well, that sounds not great. Has a really bad cover. We got The Price. We have No Greater Love, Intent to Destroy, I Remember You. We have Genesis, Paradise Lost.
My goodness.
Yeah. That's pretty much it in theaters. VOD this week, we have Blade of the Immortal, which comes out on the 8th. That's the new Takeshi Miike one. That hit limited release this week. We do have a review for that up on the site. I'll be checking that one out. I'm really interested in that. It looks awesome. I'm all about Miike going back to the samurai stories.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about a samurai who can't die, and he has to keep killing people in order to stay immortal, I think. I think that's the way it goes.
Oh, my goodness.
Something like that. So, yes, please. I think it is long, though. I think it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. So, we have The Ballad of Lefty Brown. That's on DirecTV. I'm not too sure about what that's.
Oh, that's still a thing?
Yeah. A24 is releasing that. It's a Western with Bill Pullman.
Oh, well, you know that it's terrible.
I saw the trailer. That does not look great, honestly. On the 10th, we have Amanda and Jack Go Glamping, Mayhem, and Radius.
Cool.
So there you have your
bunch of boring titles.
Yeah. Mayhem's fun. Might recommend Mayhem.
Okay.
Blu-ray.
All right.
Blu-ray for November 7th. This Tuesday, we have The Limehouse Golem. It's an okay kind of procedural, little Victorian London, Jack the Ripper-esque story. Kind of fun. Killing Ground. Probably one of the best horror movies to come out this year. It's an Australian horror film. So I'd recommend that. Got Cars 3. We'll have we should have a Blu-ray review for that up. I never saw Cars 1 or 2, but I think I'm gonna give Cars 3 a look. Your Name is coming out. Very acclaimed,
Yeah.
Japanese animation film. What do we have on the old Criterion front this week?
We have one Philadelphia Story from George Cukor with Cary Grant, James Stewart, Katharine Hepburn. Oh man,
Classic.
1940
classic.
Yeah, I want to see this. I've not seen it, so I can't tell you anything about it, other than it's going to be on Criterion Blu-ray.
Yeah,
on Tuesday.
Well, maybe give that a look.
There you go.
And with that, I think we are at the end of this week's show. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. If you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse. Consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We will see you next week.